Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney, so what?
Welcome along to the Melchester Odyssey. It's the 200th one, Sam.
Wow.
200 weeks, that's almost
Haven't
4
we done
years.
well?
We have.
Or more like, hasn't Roy done well and the brains behind Roy the Rovers?
Haven't we exploited this
their content.
piece of content for almost 4 years now to a reasonably successful level?
Long may it continue.
Exactly. We're already up to 1984. And I think the comic went on till about 1993 before they knocked it on the head. Although I don't know, I've looked at some later issues and I don't know how diveable it gets.
Well, we know how it ends
towards the
because
end.
we went to the National Football Museum that time, didn't we, in Manchester?
We were on tour, yeah.
And was it a Roy the Rovers exhibition or was it something else? Yeah. So we got to see the early ones, which of course I've read because I've got the 50s annual and the 60s annual, all of which are very diveable should we ever choose to do that. But then we saw how it ended in the 90s, by which stage we'd tuned out because we were too busy.
Yeah.
We were on the Caffreys by that stage, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
we were on the
it.
Caffreys listening to the Soup Dragons by then.
Well,
yeah.
the issues that I've got begin at 1979, and I think every issue is available online if you know where to look. So we could go back to
But
1976.
don't do
where it
a
all
spoiler
started.
because if you go to what happens in the 90s, I'll just say something befalls Roy that puts an end to the whole fucking thing. And it is just beyond. I mean, I find it unacceptable. It's fucking mad. And I can't even bring myself to say it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I actively don't want to go that far because I think the way that they brought about Roy's eventual demise was just, it was in bad taste, in my opinion.
It's in my mind's eye right now, and I can't shift it.
I can't shift it either because we saw it and I don't think either of us were aware of it until that day. It was quite nice that we were together when we witnessed that cover for the first time because I remember...
We could support each other.
We also had our suitcases with us because we'd gone straight from the train station to the exhibition without going to our hotels first.
We must go there straight away.
It was like an emergency Roy exhibition visit, and we had our wheelie bags with us, and it was quite good because I remember both of us almost lost balance when we saw the cover of like the end of Roy the Rovers, and I remember just clutching hold of my suitcase to keep myself light on 2 feet. It was tough. Yeah,
so we'll get to that eventually. And then, like I say, we could go back to 1976 and do the origin story. So anyway, I have in my left hand the 12th of May, 1984 issue of Roy the Rovers. We began to do this one, and then we realised that we hadn't finished the 5th of May. So we were talking about Heinz Invaders, because you get a free Heinz Invaders badge with this issue, which sadly isn't attached to the issue anymore. Quite right. No one's going to get their Roy the Rovers delivered and leave the badge on the front and think, I'll be able to sell that when I'm older to a collector.
If I ever got given a free badge when I was a kid, there's only one thing on my mind. Get the cunt pinned to my jumper
Put
now.
it on.
Get this fucking badge on my body.
And get out and about and let everyone see that I've got it.
Go out for a right fucking strut around the neighbourhood.
Yeah. Look at this, everyone. Heinz Invaders. Yeah, he's all right.
Fucking free as well, by the way. Didn't spend a penny on that. Yeah.
Haven't even read the comic. Just came straight out to show you all.
Look upon me and weep, cunts. It's Sam the Badge Man, the local badge head.
I don't even know what Heinz Invaders are, but I'm supporting them and I'm publicising them.
I don't care.
If it's Heinz, it's quality. That's all I know. And Heinz Invaders were, I believe, just spaceship type spaghetti, like spaghetti oops, but spaceship.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty
Probably
good. I
can't get 'em
mean, in
anymore.
those days, we were just happy. We were just happy to have any pasta shape in tomato sauce in a new and interesting shape. That was
Yeah, we'd done alphabeti spaghetti.
yeah. We'd done the hoop.
numbers.
For me, it was hoops were always my favourite, and it was really weird because in the summer holidays, sometimes my grandma would come from Margate to look after me when my mum was at work. And what happened was my mum would just simply stock the house with a number of Heinz baked bean tins for the week. There'd be 7 for the week, mate. And each day I would, and after a while I wanted to express my own independence, Andy. So I would tell my grandma, I don't want you to make my lunch today. I will do it, right? Because I basically learned how to open a tin, heat some shit up in a pan and then stick it on a bit of toast. Right, which I was get the toast out, spread a bit of flour on it, tip the fucking beans on or whatever the tomato-y thing I was having for lunch on, bang. If I was feeling fruity, grate a bit of fucking cheddar on it, right?
Get in there.
I remember, and I was a bit like with my nan. No, I'll do it. I know how to cook now, right? And she was a bit like, all right then, cunt. Oh, cooking is it? Warming up some fucking Heinz tomato sauce product,
It's survival, that's all it is.
Yeah, fucking cooking. All right then, fucking Keith Floyd, go for it. I'll sit here and read my Daily Mirror. Fine, I'll put my fucking feet up, you fancy cunt, right? And but it was like you'd have hoops, spaghetti, alphabeti spaghetti, maybe invaders, although I don't really remember them, and of course ravioli.
I was going to mention that was my favourite.
For a continental twist.
If you were feeling a bit flash, ravioli, yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'd always have to grate the cheddar on the ravioli for fucking certain.
No, I'd never thought of that, to be honest. I don't think we had a grater.
A grater. That didn't reach the northeast until the Tony Blair era.
We didn't have that kind of
And
thing.
I will tell all of you, this is a new dawn for Britain. We shall make grating facilities available to the North Country. The industrial North shall be grating cheeses, all sorts of cheeses,
That is
everywhere.
our pledge by 2002.
By 2002,
We will
every
roll
household,
out grating.
every household in the Northeast shall have shall have the capacity to grate cheese.
I'm not going to lie. I've got a hankering right now for, let's say, spaghetti on toast. Heinz spaghetti on toast. Or hoops.
Here's the thing. I don't know why, because it was all basically the same stuff in different shapes. Same sauce, same pasta. But I sort of thought of the spaghetti as a bit like crap and like, spaghetti. Nah, that's a bit common. I don't want that. The spaghetti hoops, that's sophisticated.
Different.
The spaghetti
Weird.
letters, sophisticated. The spaghetti, and I suppose I was a bit like, they haven't even bothered to fucking do anything with that.
That's what it is. They haven't jazzed it up at all.
It's lazy. They've just got the raw spaghetti from wherever they fucking get it off a tree, right? And they've just mixed it with the tomato sauce and stuck it in a tin. And it's more or less the same price. And I'm not having that. I want mine. It did seem to taste nicer when it was in hoop form. To me, Andy, I don't know if you felt the same way.
Don't know. Can't remember. I'd have to do a taste test. Maybe we will do that for the Turbo listeners at some point. I'd love to see an episode of that Made in Britain show that's on ITV4 about how alphabeti spaghetti was made, because that seems like a science that I can't get my head around.
It might be on YouTube if we're lucky. Because how the fuck did they do that?
How did they do it?
Because it's so.
I see how they would make spaghetti.
It's perfect as well. They're completely uniform. All those letters.
Because they must use a series of moulds, but how does that do? How so many are produced going through that process? It just seems fantastic. A tin of Heinz alphabeti spaghetti should cost $6.99, surely, based on the process of making them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, let's not get sidetracked because it's the 200th episode and we should focus on Roy the Rovers.
Yeah, we should have respect.
And it's a good cover. We've got injuries galore going on. It says Walford Rovers, the club which Roy had briefly managed, and Melchester Rovers had reached the final of the FA Cup just before a league match against Holverton. A helicopter chartered by Joe Bellamy, the Walford cunt, appeared over Mel Park with disastrous consequences for the Rovers. They'd just used their substitute, but now Noel Baxter was injured. They've just all been befuddled by this helicopter that's flown above them. It's addled their minds. They can't concentrate, they can't focus. Noel Baxter has collapsed again, it says there. Noel Baxter has collapsed again. That knee injury is serious. And Baxter's down. He's going, ouch! He's got Jimmy Slade and Taffy Morgan trying to help him up. Or are they just going to help him up and just tell him to run it off? I don't know. Charlie Carter looks perturbed in the background, as does Roy.
It stings!
Yeah. I can't put pressure on it.
That cunt Baxter's fucking got his knickers in a twist again.
So someone in the crowd shouts, "No wonder Roy looks like a man who has just aged 10 years.
Hey, fuck
and
off.
There's a close-up of Roy. Exactly, yeah. What?
I'm in my fucking prime, mate.
I'm fucking moisturised to fuck here, mate.
You pie-eating fucking turd. That's what he calls the fads. Those fucking pie-eating turds there in the fucking stand.
Scum.
Disgusting. Fucking... fucking pond life as far as I'm concerned.
Look, I don't know why we don't have perspex sheets put up around the exterior of the pitch, because I can smell the fucking beer on their breath coming on the pitch. The beer and the pies.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love a beer and a fag in the feathers after a hard day's fucking work to relax in an executive environment. But these cunts, it's disgusting. It's non-stop. It's all they've got to live for. That and the bingo.
In the early hours of a Saturday afternoon. That's disgusting. And then we've got Taffy Morgan, and I don't know who this is. It seems to be a member of the public helping Noel Baxter off the pitch as he hobbles off. It could be the pop star David Cassidy. I'm not totally sure. It could be David Van Deer from Dollar, actually. He might have gone up the Melchester. The early use of a pop star device within Roy the Rovers, which of course
a little hint as to what's to come.
Ballet. Yeah, no spoilers. So I don't know why David Van Deer's there, but he could be going into the FA Cup final without two key players, which of course was important back then. As we said, most team squads were 12 or 13. That was it. You played week in, week out. Injuries weren't a thing. One substitute each week. So there we are. Roy is telling them all what to do. It says Rovers had also lost Duncan Mackay, who had injured himself in scoring Rovers' equalising goal. Roy says, now we're down to 10 men, so for Pete's sake, take it easy. Forget about Walford and Joe Bellamy. We're charging around like a bunch of bad-tempered mules, just as he hoped we would. Bellamy sat there 24 hours earlier thinking, I really hope I can get them Melchester boys charging around like a bunch of bad-tempered mules. That would be perfect.
He stood in front of the old fucking squad with a whiteboard and drew. Now, who can tell me what I've just drawn is? I don't know, Joe. It looks like a bad-tempered mule, if anything. Correct.
Very well spotted.
That's exactly what it is. And this is what... Why, you may ask, have I drawn a bad-tempered mule? Very simple. This is what I want you to transform each and every one of the Melchester playing staff into.
And how we're going to do it? Via the power of the helicopter. One of them, it's Blackie there. He shouts, right, let's cool it.
Like Fonzie says. I love Fonzie. He's the best, isn't he? He's got his office in the toilet at Albert's. That's just like Roy sometimes does some of his admin in the toilet at the Fanners, don't you, Roy? Sometimes I do, yes.
So let's just all put both our thumbs up and I'll just say cool.
And
then we'll be cool like Fonzie and like Roy.
Roy, if you're Fonzie, am I sort of like Richie Cunningham?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, whoever you want to be. I don't even know what you're talking about. Monday, Tuesday, happy day. Shut it.
And Blackie intercepts a throw-in with a almost diving header at the same time as saying, "We'll control this game when we start controlling ourselves." Fucking hell, that's quite profound. That's it, Blackie. Great interception. Shouts a fan. Neville Jones knocked the ball on into the path of Rob Richards, which he signifies by shouting, "Rob Richards!" Fans are really getting behind them and getting into it now. One shouts, "Wahoo!" That means they're enjoying themselves. "Wahoo! This is more like the Melchester Magic." Nice close-up action of what's going on the pitch. Roy is just to the left of Rob Richards and he shouts, "With you, Rob!" 4 defenders in a line. That's terrible positioning. In fact, is that their back 4? They're all within like 10 foot of each other. Disgraceful. "Watch Race, Holverton. Close him down." Holverton, of course, have been relegated already, let's not forget. And you can see why by the way they're lining up here. Roy spots a gap in between these 4 tightly packed defenders. It's almost like a wall they've built. As the Holverton defenders swayed to shut out the threat of Roy. "How are we going to stop him?" "Sway. Everyone sway." Roy spots the gap. Roy spotted the gap and he's gone for it. And indeed, he hits the rocket. Back of the net. Keeper goes, "Oh!" Fans go, "Yes!" And it's Melchester Rovers 2, Holverton 1. Half-time arrived before Holverton could restart.
Roy is one of those players that if he gets if you allow him to get his shot away, it's a definite goal.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's like basically if you're playing against Melchester, don't ever let him get it on his. Is it his right foot? It is, isn't it?
Left foot.
Oh, don't let him get it on his left foot because if he gets his shot off, it's a goal. No goalkeeper in the world can stop a racy rocket. Or
even a back 4 that's tightly packed like that. They've just formed a line and he's just blasted the ball right through them.
And what we haven't seen, but would be a good storyline, would be if he just got like the equivalent of the yips, like you get in darts. Because players always go through a phase. Like even the best finishers of all time go through phases where they just basically lose it, and then it becomes a mental block. And they should do a thing where Roy loses his rocket. And he starts.
Eric Bristow had that.
He starts kicking it, and it just like every time he kicks it, he either it's either really like a P roller, so he can't generate the power anymore. Yeah. I used to get it something chronic with Sabutio finger, we'd call it unimaginatively, where you'd have your finger in front of the player, and then the defending player would have his finger like ready to sort of flick his defensive player, and the pressure of moving the flicking the player to the ball, and my finger would just freeze, and me and my brother would both get it. We'd be standing there both staring at our own finger like the brain could not connect to the finger. Funny enough, I never had that whilst fingering a girl, but I suppose it can befall you at any point.
It could have done if you'd thought about it, if you'd overthought things.
Yeah, that's why I tried to just switch off and use the force whenever I was fingering as a lad.
Yeah, Eric, as I say, Eric Bristow had that, not the fingering thing, but the darts thing. He had what was called dartitis.
Right.
And it just couldn't, sometimes his hand couldn't release the dart.
Yeah.
He just couldn't throw them.
Yeah, because you start thinking about it. It's fucking tough. And the same thing happens with Sabutio.
The human mind is a terrifying thing. No wonder it amplifies itself when it's left alone.
Yeah, exactly. It has to. For everyone's good, for society's good.
Yeah.
Jalapeño.
So they're going off at half time, and it says half time arrived before Holverton could restart. Roy says, "That's better. Nothing like goals to show Mr. Bellamy that his little stunt hasn't worked." Bellamy would be livid at hearing this half time score. Blackie says, "Yes, we'll use the interval to get ourselves really relaxed." What's he suggesting here? I've got some of them fancy cigarettes that we got from me
My
cousins in
cousin
Liverpool.
brought
We can have some of them.
What do you call them? Moroccan and Marlboros. And do you remember when we smoked them round by the bins outside the Feathers the other night? Because you couldn't get hold of any of the sexy powder, so you said you'd give that a go. And then you started...
Go the other way.
You went all funny, and we both fell over and wet ourselves. And then when we woke up, it was the next day. I don't need any of that. Certainly not half time. It's not quite my
Just have a cup of
speed.
tea.
Well, if you change your mind, I've got a couple of pre-rolls that my cousin left in my locker for me.
Now, let's have a cup of tea and a Kit Kat, eh?
I've been getting into that Reggie music. Is that what they call it? Reggie? I don't know, but I tell you what, one of them funny cigarettes and a bit of Bob Marley and a packet of biscuits. Oh, it don't half make you feel like a new man.
Oh, is that singer Jacob Marley? Jacob Marley and Bob Cratchit. Brilliant.
Oh, we're jamming. Roy, do you remember, Roy? We're jamming. Oh, no, don't. You send me to sleep with that nonsense.
You're embarrassing me, Blackie. But the opposite happens. They don't relax. Kenny Logan begins to wave his arms around. Kenny Logan, I believe, has dropped some acid instead of taking something else. He's flapping his arms around in the dressing room,
look what he does
dancing
now.
around. Why don't we take flying lessons? Then we can all fly over Walford's ground and dive bomb Bellamy.
You fucking idiot. Sit down, you silly prick.
Fucking hell. Ha ha ha, says Charlie Carter. Ha ha ha.
Funny joke. But now, not time for humour. FA Cup at stake.
Time for calm. Jimmy Slade says, Kenny, mind that bag. And indeed, there is a bag on the floor by the lockers. Logan trips over it and slams head first, well, shoulder first, into the lockers. Ah! Oh! My shoulder! Roy goes, oh, I just don't believe this. Fuck me. What has happened here? That's Logan out of the game. It says, as Melchester went out for the second half. Where's Kenny Logan? Shouts an observant fan. They're down to 9 men now. What's going on? He's fucked his shoulder now. Fuck off. Get behind us. Roy had forgotten his own advice to stop worrying about Joe Bellamy. And he's thinking about the helicopter with Bellamy rules okay on the banner. And Roy thinks, him and his confounded copter. That's how it all started. Copter? Did we call them copters back then?
That's what you call them. Copter.
I've heard people call them chopper, but I use that word for something else.
Copters for the pros. As Bellamy may not know, Bellamy has had to rent that, probably for quite a high cost, which is fucking insane, frankly. I, of course, own my own copter. And that is how I get to use the word copter, only for the pros.
And I have my own pilot, albeit on a retainer. It's just 30 quid a week, but he's available whenever I need him, which is rare, but it's good to know that he's there.
It's a tax write-off, because I've managed to convince HMRC that it is essential to the performance as my duties. Not as an individual player, but I've registered myself as a limited company / social enterprise called Roy of the Rovers Limited.
Roy Race Holdings Limited. Roy Race Enterprises Limited, PLC.
One of my roles is to perform as a footballer on a Saturday. There are
Just
various other roles.
Him and his confounded copter, that's how it all started. A clattering bedlam filled the sky. Oh my God.
Clattering
Roy
bedlam.
turns and
Good
looks
name
to
for
the
a band.
sky. And here it comes again. Why, that cheeky. Blackie tries to calm him by saying, hold it, Roy. And then we move on to the 4th page of this. It's the classic episode. 4th page of it. Oh, hang on. No. It's probably a different one. Probably a police. Probably a police job.
This is more like this is my favourite type of helicopter. I don't know what the difference is, but this is the type that can land on water and has a big sort of bubble at the front of it. I think it's like the one. Aren't ABBA in one of these on the cover of one of their records?
Yeah. Yeah, in ABBA Arrival, I think it is.
Yeah, it's like a bubble copter. They're better.
Yeah.
But you don't get them anymore. They're much more... It's also the one that you see at the beginning of MASH. When they're playing Suicide is Painless. One of these is land coming into land, isn't it?
They haven't got doors on them, have they? You just get on.
Just jump in and out.
Go.
There's also a brilliant, one of my all-time favourite alright cunts moments is in Jaws 2, right? Where the teenagers are astray on a fucking, what do you call it? Not a boat, a raft. And John Jaws comes to get them, right? And then, but they're like shitting themselves. He's coming, and then a helicopter comes to rescue them, and they're like, they're so relieved. They fucking hell, we're getting away before John Jaws turns up. And they climb onto one of these helicopters, just like this one with no doors, and they're just about to get away. And it's the ultimate alright cunts, because you see from below, John Jaws leaps out of the sea, and he fucking grabs the helicopter in his mouth. Not so fast, cunts.
I hate metal as well.
And he grabs one of those, those things underneath it. I don't know what you call them, the stabilisers.
Feet?
He grabs hold of one of them, and they're like, fuck, and it's trying to fly away. But John Jaws is too strong. He goes, come back, I've got you. And he just slowly eats the helicopter and every cunt inside of it.
Fucking hell.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah, there could be a John Jaws deep dive at some point.
And he's like this, delicious, burp.
Now for a kip.
Then more eating teenagers.
I'm so glad I discovered it. I'm never looking back. I'm never going back to plankton.
Eating kids. And this area is a fucking rich hunting ground. You can eat so many kiddies and they never learn. Because the thing is, they've got this self-serving mayor, which plays into my needs fucking really well. Because he's obsessed. What I found out was, I did some digging, and the local mayor is obsessed with tourism. Because it's what basically props up the local economy. So there's nought that will convince him to close the beaches. What that means for me, old John Jaws here, is that there is a constant supply of kiddie meat in this sea.
Plus, of course, when you think about human nature, people are ghouls. They want to come to the scene of crimes like these and have a look for themselves. Bring them on, I say.
They like it. They keep coming back. They come back for more, and then I get more choice. It means less swimming about, because there's just loads of them. In this case, fair dues. I've made a bit of an effort. I've swum out further than usual, and I've eaten the helicopter. But that was necessary. Not so much for eating the helicopter, which I didn't find particularly palatable anyway. It's more like a warning to them. Like, don't think you can escape from me that easy. Yeah? It's going to take more than a fucking helicopter to stop me.
I'd say it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel, but I don't know if that's the right metaphor.
People ask
There's
me,
no fish involved.
People ask me, how long do you see this lasting? What will you do when it ends? And I tell them, to be honest, at this stage, I cannot see it ever ending.
And if it does, so be it. I'll have a load of great memories.
And I will move on. I will move on to the next chapter of my life. Or I may be dead. They may find a way of destroying me. And if they do, well, that won't be a problem for me, because I'll be dead. I'll be dead. I'll be in shark heaven or shark hell, who knows? And it'll only be my relatives left behind who'll be the ones who'll have to grieve. But to be honest, I haven't seen my old man in years. I don't know where he is, right? So if word gets to him via the undersea network... then
Shark grapevine.
I doubt he'll be that...
Shark vine.
I doubt he'll be that bothered. And my mum, she unfortunately died. She was blown up round here last year by a couple of cunts. And I have no siblings that I am aware of, so...
So that's... Yeah, so the helicopter arrives. And as Blackie says, probably a police job. Fucking hell, what? Roy says, hey.
What are you talking about? It's the busies! Quick, hide the marijuana cigarettes! And the acid! Right, shall I eat all the acid? Yeah, quickly, eat it all now. Eat everything.
Do you want some, Roy? Of course I fucking don't. Fuck
You
off.
eat it all, quick. Hide it all in your guts. Any luck, you'll be able to shit it out later and there'll be some still worth taking.
Oh, they're going to land on the pitch and storm the dressing room. Who's that? Is that Steve Naylor? I don't know who that is. Who says, Roy, watch the ball. And he doesn't. And the ball hits him square in the face. And he goes, ah! And two of the Holverton players who look like they're about 9 years old, which probably explains why they're in the relegation zone, go, ha ha! Another one says, that's what you call keeping your eye on the ball, Racy. Roy's reactions had always been fast, but now a surge of white-hot fury stung him to even greater speed. And they're going to regret laughing at him because he's just controlled the ball. It's you see the movement of the ball, the lines. It's come down off his face, straight to his feet. And he thinks, have a laugh at this, pal. One says, what the? And the other one goes, look out! And then he fucking hits it with the left foot, the rocket. Look what comes out of the thought bubble as he hits it.
Yeah.
I really hit that. He's almost like going, oh, I might have gone too far there. I might have broken the ball. I really hit that. So he does, the rocket, oof. And of course, back of the net. Oh, I've hit that harder than anything I've ever hit before. I didn't know how capable of that.
I've scared myself, to be honest.
Yeah, I should probably retire. I'm a lethal weapon.
I'm going to have to go and get me not looked at after this. I think the demons are coming back.
I'll tell you what, let's not. I'll just forget about it.
I pictured my dad's head as I hit that.
What a thunderbolt! Says Blackie.
Calm down, Blackie, fuck's sake.
Brilliant, Racy. Says Jimmy Slade.
Right, I'm seeing things. I took all that acid and I'm seeing all sorts of rubbish now. When the ball went in the back of the net, I thought it was a big elephant doing a poo.
And it took, I know you kicked it fast, but it took 8 hours to leave your foot and go in the back of the net. I don't know.
Right, the ground's crawling with locusts, right? Yeah, it will be. It's going to be a struggle for the next few hours. But just know you're in a safe space with people who care about you, Blackie. Thanks, right?
Rob Richards, I think it might be him. It looks like a very old man instead, but he has aged quite quickly. Says, maybe Bellamy did us a favour. I haven't seen you score a goal like that in years. Well, who is that? Because that can't be Rob Richards.
Yeah, it's some
Rob
kind of...
Richards is just a child.
He looks like another sort of a racy lookalike, but he's not anyone we've ever seen before. Some rando.
I mean, they're down to 9 players. That's pretty much the whole team that's there.
Yeah.
There's a weird shadow on Jimmy Slade's back as well, so there's somebody else lurking around. As the delighted Rovers hauled Roy to his feet. Uh-oh. Blackie says, Roy, are you okay? And that fellow with the moustache again, don't know who that is. He says, he's limping. And Roy's face is curdled with pain. And a fan says, oh no, surely the king, in inverted commas, isn't going to miss the cup final too. And that's where it ends for this week. And it just says, is the king, in inverted commas, a serious casualty?
Guys, there's just before we start the game, I know people like to call me Racy or the Rocket or Mr. Bojangles, many nicknames, but I've been in touch
Racy
with my IP. Like some people used to call me the Little Horse in my younger years. That one still gets wheeled out sometimes.
They call me that in Spain. I don't know why.
For many years, I was known simply as Dr. Fock. And all of these nicknames have their own little stories and mythology around them, and I haven't got a problem with any of them. But I've been talking to my IP lawyers, and they've said it's time to consolidate my nicknames for branding purposes. So from now on, I would appreciate it if you all refer to me simply as the King.
Nothing else.
Forget all the others. Dr. Fock, Little Horse, Racy and Go-Go, forget them all.
Although I don't mind Dr. Fuck now and again.
Professor Impossible. Impossible John. Jaws. Some people call me Jaws because they liken me to the
Chief
shark.
Inspector Wingspan.
Otto Conti. That was one.
The Shadow.
The Scarlet Fokker Nail.
Jeffrey Jesus.
Cock Turpin.
The Invisible Coupon. Don't got that one at all. Don't know. That's Portugal.
The Melchester member. All of those with a heavy heart, because they all have a certain place in my heart and my memory. I do have to have them all shut down by law with immediate effect. I'm retiring all other nicknames other than the King. And I know what you're thinking. The King sounds quite boring by comparison. Yes, that's true. But my IP lawyers tell me that it has more versatility worldwide. We do not want to get into a situation where, like the marathon situation, who are named as Snickers on the continent. We need one simple, memorable name that can stretch across all retail territories.
A global brand. And that is Dr. Fuck. No, it's not. So that's it says, is the King a serious casualty? You can find out next Saturday. And Mark's out of 10 for that story. I'm giving that a 10.
It's
I'm
a
giving
10
it a
from
10
me for sure. It's got the lot.
It's got Roy being hit in the face, and it's also got a second helicopter, which none of us saw coming.
A double helicopter episode has got to be a 10.
And Kenny Logan pretending he could fly. That was also good.
And
so there we go.
Blackie on acid.
That is, and then just a couple of pages later, it says, next week, Ipswich fans, Trevor Putney appears in Sign Please.
Oh, Trevor Putney.
That's enticing, isn't it?
It is.
And it says, and will Roy miss the cup final? I don't think they've put them in order of importance there, to be honest.
No.
They've put Trevor Putney as the most important thing. But we'll find out if he does actually make it to the FA Cup final or not. It's a shame that the FA Cup final isn't the 200th episode of this series. But sadly,
I do think this has been a decent episode to mark the occasion.
We've dicked about too much in the past to make that, a line.
We've never been able to pull that off.
So we'll find out. Tune in next week. Thank you very much. And goodbye.
Goodbye.